So mates, welcome back to So Simple. Here we try to simplify sewing as much as possible, and today we are going to learn how to draft a simple corset top with Keyhole yoke. So it's a really simple tutorial, just follow as I walk you through it. I'm going to start by taking my shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 14, divided by 2 is 7. This is for a small size, it's a size 6 corset. So here I'm going to come down by 1 inch from my slope, and then the armhole I'm going to mark 8 inches. For my bust point it's 9.5, for my under bust is 12.5, and my front half length is 16 inches, while the back is 14.5. So here I'm going to take all these measurements here again so that I can have a straight line. So once you mark the important points, you take your straight ruler and then connect them together to have your straight line, just like this. So for the neck width, I'm going to work with a neck width of 3 inches, and then the neck depth I'm working with is 2.75, 2.5 or 2. Like I said, it's a small size, so the neck is a bit high, so I'll just leave it at 2.75, and then with my curved ruler I'm going to connect together. Then here you come here and then mark your shoulder slope. So for my armhole, I'm going to come here and then I'll mark my shoulder measurement on the armhole line, and then make this into a straight line to have my armhole line. So here for the front, you're going to come here, divide what you have into 2, and then on the midpoint you come in by half an inch. Then here you're going to mark your bust divided by 4. Mine is 34 divided by 4, and I have it and half. So with my curved ruler I'm going to link the 3 points together to form my armhole curve. If yours cannot be linked at once, you can also mark them in bits. So that is my armhole curve. So now to our dart. So for my dart, you need your bust span, that's your nipple to nipple, distance between one nipple to another. For me that's 7, divided by 2 is 3.5. So I mark the 3.5 on the bust line, on the under bust and the waist, and make it into a straight line. Then we're doing a shoulder dart here, so you're going to come here on your shoulder, you mark what you have, divide that into 2, and then you connect it to your bust point. So once you have all of this, the next thing is to take your actual dart. So for this size, I'm taking a dart of 1 inch on both sides. That's a total of 2 inches on my waist and my under bust. If the person is bigger than this, you can do 2.5 for medium, and then for really big sizes you can do 3 inches. That depends on how deep the cup is going to be, the dart you take. So now I'm going to take the curved side of my ruler and then connect this to the bust point, just like this. So you're going to do the same thing on the 2 sides. Okay, so the next measurement I'm going to be taking now is for me I like to measure especially if I'm working with a yoke, I don't want it to be saggy, I want it to be firm. So for that I like to take the measurement from one chest to another. For me, I like to take measurement from one armhole to another where the armhole connects. That's the front chest measurement. So if you take that measurement, you divide that measurement into 2, and you check if that is exactly what you have here. For me, for this size, the measurement is around 11 inches. So if I divide that into 2, I will have 5.5 inches. So you can see the excess that I have here. So I can even add half an inch to it or quarter of an inch, because I'm going to be joining a sleeve to it. So let's say I'm working with 6 inches. Okay, 6 inches stops here, and I still have like an excess of half an inch. So that half an inch excess that I have, I'm going to use it to tighten the upper part. So before I tighten it, what I'm going to do is to first draw out my neckline. So the neck width I'm working with for this is going to be around 7 inches. From the upper part here, I'm going to mark my neck width of maybe 7 inches or 7.5. And then for the neck depth, you're going to connect this to your armhole. So on your armhole, you need to decide how much you want your yoke to take. Okay, so for my armhole here, from the upper part here, I'm going to mark 4.5 inches, and that is where my yoke is going to stop. So the next thing is to take my ruler and then draw like a mini sweetheart neckline. So here now, the excess of half an inch that I have, I'm going to use that to tighten this upper part. So here I'm going to mark quarter of an inch on both sides, and all together that will give me half an inch. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect this to my bust point on the two sides. Okay, so once you connect, now this connection, I'm going to take it to the shoulder. That way I have tightened the yoke as well. So you can see it's just half an inch, and you don't need to replace it here because it's like the excess that we have just taken out. So now for the corset, I'm going to mark half an inch because I want a space of half an inch between each of my cups. If you want your space to be 1.5, you you divide 1.5 into 2, and 0.75 is what you are going to mark here. Mine is going to be half an inch, so I'm going to mark that on the neckline as well as the bust point, and then I'm going to make it into a straight line. So once that is formed, I'm going to take my curved ruler and then form the first side of my cup, just like this. So for the second side, remember that my front half length is 16 and the back is 114.5, so I have a difference of I have the difference of 1.5. This is where my back half length is. So because of that, I'm going to connect the side so that I can take my bust dart. So my waist is 24 divided by 4 is 6, so I have 2.5 inches here. I'm going to go ahead and complete the 6 inches, and then I'll connect like this. So on the bust line, which is here, I'm going to come down by 1.5, which is the difference that I have from the front and back half length, and then I'll connect like this. Okay, so now before I draw my cuff, I would like to first close my bust dart. So to be able to close the bust dart easily, I'm going to open the center line here up to the bust point, and then I'm going to go ahead and fold my bust dart. So you come here and then fold it. So let's just reduce this paper so that we have something smaller to work with. So I'm going to come here now and then fold this paper like this, and then I'm going to close it up. So once you close it up, if you have any part that is not aligning well, you just take your curved ruler and then reshape it. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and draw my second cup. So for that, it depends on what you want, but this is a small size, so you can just measure from here to here and then divide that into 2 and then connect to join your cup here, or you can just come in by maybe 1 inch or 1.5 inches, and then you're going to take your curved ruler like this and then connect to form your full cup. Okay, so this is my second cup now, so you can label it 1 2. So like I said, this is going to have like a keyhole neckline, and also I want to cut my side seam allowance together with it. So I'm using a side seam allowance of 1.5, and then I'm going to cut it. I'm going to connect like this so that when I'm transferring on my fabric, I only need to add allowance on the dart areas, which is here. So now for my yoke, I'm going to mark from the neckline, from where the neckline stop. I'm going to mark around 1.5 or 1.25 inch here, and then I'm going to take my ruler and then connect this to somewhere here. Okay, so this part will be opened and it's going to be like a keyhole neckline. Okay, so you can see what we have. So this is going to be our yoke. Okay, this is going to be the center front, the side front, the first cup, and this is the second cup. So now I'm done with this. The only thing that you may need to do now is to true your darts. And what do I mean by that? Because of this cuff that we are working with, assuming these ones are straight, you have the same measurement on your dart leg, but because they are curved, the measurement on your dart legs may be different. So you can check what you have there. So here I have 4.25, and then I'm going to go ahead now and connect to make sure that I have the same here. And then here as well, you will check what you have and then see if you have the same thing on this side again. So I'm just trying to make sure of this. If you don't do this and you are joining, it's not going to align. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure that I have the same thing on the two sides, so that when I am connecting it, I will not have issues. And then for this one as well, I'm going to redraw it to connect to my neckline, and that is all I need to do. So now you're going to grab your scissors and then cut out what you have here. I've already drafted the back. This is the back. It's very simple. So this is my shoulder, my underbust. So what I have here is just a waist dart, and this is my zipper allowance. So it's just a simple back bodice. I have a tutorial on how you can draft this if you don't know how to. So let's cut. You can see that I have cut my pieces out. This is the center. So the last one to cut now is to the cup for the side, for the center front. I have taken out all the darts. So this is what the pattern looks like now. This is the side front and this is the part. So now for the yoke, what you need to do, this small tighten that we took, you are going to go ahead and close it up. Okay, so once you close it up, this is what you are going to have. Okay, you just fold the darts, just fold the darts on top like this. Okay, and this is what you have. So if you notice that after folding it, this first line that we did was no longer aligning, that is why I said it is important for you to through it. So you will see that it now aligns well with the second line. If you don't do that, when you want to cut out your, when you want to join the patterns together, it's going to give you issues. So this is what that looks like now. If your shoulders are not aligning as well, you can just take your ruler and then redraw your shoulder line. Okay, and then you go ahead and cut this out. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut it on my pattern, on my fabric, and then you add necessary darts where you need to add it. So it is very simple to do this. You can see these are the pieces we are working with. I'm going to go ahead and cut out my neckline as well. So I decided to close my dart. You can see, okay, I did not cut it separately. I placed the center front and side front together, and then I closed my dart. You can see that there is no dart line on my own. So if you want to open your dart, you can open it. I've gone ahead to create my corset now, and you can see that I put my bra cup inside it. So this is the main fabric and this is the yoke. You can see I've already turned the yoke with lining. I just need to sew it to the bodice, and then I'm going to turn everything out with my lining. So this is what it looks like now, and this is the lining, just like I mentioned. So once you create your lining as well, I used soft wadding for the cup of the lining so that it can also stand a bit. So you can see what it looks like there. That's the lining. So that is what I'm going to use to turn out the main bodies, and once you turn it out, this is what everything is going to look like. So I'll just place it on the mannequin so that you can see what it looks like. I hope you enjoyed making this with me. If you have any question, drop in the comment section and I'll be happy to answer you. Bye for now.